Top story this morning, COVID cases in central Indiana schools. This morning, hundreds of students across different school districts are forced to quarantine at home after exposure to the virus. Our Julia Brooks is in the newsroom this morning with a breakdown of the cases we're seeing and how it's impacting the Anderson School District. Good morning, Julia.
Good morning to you, Carlos. Yep, Anderson students headed back last Wednesday, so just a week ago, but by the start of this week, the district had to already quarantine 6 classrooms in 4 different schools because students may have been exposed to COVID-19. Well, now another classroom in Anderson is under quarantine as of yesterday. That's a 3rd grade class at Valley Grove Elementary. It now makes the 7th class required to quarantine for 10 days now. The school still hasn't given any exact count of just how many COVID cases there are, but we know that more than 100 kids are impacted by the quarantines after exposure. Meanwhile, here's a look at some other schools that are heading back to the classroom this morning. Franklin, Greenwood, Hamilton Southeastern, and Monroe County are all heading back. Mooresville, Washington Township, and Roncalli High School, all returning this morning. You can check out this full list of all of the kids heading back to school, all of these dates on WTHR.com. But we know that many of these school systems have recently updated or have altered their mask guidance as COVID cases, as we're seeing they're surging, and CDC guidance is now changing. Well, Anderson, by the way, is mask optional this year, which means those masks are encouraged but still not required, Carlos.
Julia, thank you so much. We'll keep you updated as we learn more about COVID cases in schools. You can check out WTHR.com and also download our news app. We're also seeing a spike in hospitalizations as the Delta variant takes hold across the country. Just yesterday, nearly 1,000 COVID patients filled Indiana hospital beds. That number has been climbing quickly over the last week. Our Jenny Renovich looks into the hospital situation in one county, which is already running out of room.
In Tippecanoe County, where COVID cases are up 71%, where Purdue just brought back mandatory masks indoors, the community's hospitals are under serious strain.
Hospitals are struggling at this point.
Our staff and our facilities are stressed and exhausted.
Franciscan Health and IU Health Arnett both max out almost daily.
Our capacity is full. And has been for a number of weeks.
It's a perfect storm. More patients, sicker patients, and not enough nurses to care for them.
Yeah, so I've got 4 rooms there and I got 3 rooms here, not staffed.
Franciscan down 18 nurses right now, had to close its palliative care unit because staffing is so short after a year and a half of nonstop COVID care.
We have staff that are just resigning and saying, look, I can't take this anymore. I can't do this anymore.
Some people are saying, I'm kind of done.
And it's happening just as the highly contagious Delta variant brings in a new wave of COVID patients. Franciscan has a dozen, Arnett nearly 2 dozen. That's double to 4 times the number they had just 6 weeks ago. Many are younger, in their 30s and 40s, and none got the vaccine.
Of the 12 we have this morning, 8 of those were in the ICU and a number of those were on vents. And we've not seen that for quite a while, so now we're seeing sicker patients.
And it's on top of a surge in people with other illnesses, from RSV to heart attacks to COVID complications. It's pushed capacity to the brink.
We've had to go on diversion, which is basically telling EMS, please don't bring us any more ambulances for a period of time. More times in the last 3 months than I've seen in the last 10 years.
We can't transfer people outside of the institution because there's no place to send them to. Many of the hospitals in Indianapolis are full. We even called Crown Point, they were full.
Hospital leaders are now encouraging a return to masks and say vaccination is key to easing this crisis of care.
Please get vaccinated. The impact it has on the community, the impact it has on the hospitals is significant.
And hospital leaders are also concerned for the fall, since last year we didn't see too many flu cases. Plus, not all schools are requiring masks this year. Now let's turn to a few stories that are making headlines in your morning rush. Tyson Foods now requiring its workers to get vaccinated. It's the largest U.S. company to issue that kind of mandate for all of its employees. Tyson has a meat packing and processing plant in Logansport. It was the epicenter of a COVID outbreak that sickened hundreds of people early in the pandemic. Almost half of Tyson workers have gotten vaccinated. The rest have to be fully vaccinated by October 1st.